So what interests you about the lives of conscientious objectors?
I hadn't fully realised the risks they were willing to take. So another reason I wanted to write the play also was, in a sense, to explore my own pacifism and to ask myself the question in the play, and therefore, in a sense, asking the audience as well. Would I have been as brave as those men 100 years ago, in terms of the different punishments they faced, the different challenges they faced? And so reading about the conscientious objectors and their stories, it was very enlightening and inspiring to learn just how far they were prepared to go. But the other thing was, it's not a black and white situation. You know, it's very easy to say there are people who are pro-war, there are people who are anti-war, there are people, conscientious objectors are against war. They will not fight. Well, that's true. But within the conscientious objector movement, which I hadn't realised, there were so many shades of opinion. And none of them were willing to fight, take up arms and kill their fellow men. But large numbers of them were perfectly happy to do anything else, as long as it didn't involve combat. And then within that, there were shades of opinion. You know, some would say, well, I'm willing to do something to help, you know, the national effort at this time of crisis, but it mustn't be anything connected to the military. Others would say, well, no, I'm happy to help the military, but I don't want to be involved in munitions or anything that leads ultimately to killing. So there were these big debates within the conscientious objector movement as to how far one should take one's stance. And to put it in relatively simplistic terms, there were two camps: the absolutists, who absolutely refused to do anything to help prosecute the war, and then the alternativists, who were willing to consider alternative service or work of national importance. So I didn't know about any of this, and nor indeed does it seem large numbers of my audiences that I've performed to so far, unless they're specialists in the subject. They too, like me, have found it very enlightening and inspiring. Well, one of the inspiring things is that there was this organisation that I hadn't heard about until I started researching, called the No Conscription Fellowship. And they were founded by Fenner Brockway, ardent young pacifist then, who lived to the grand old age of 99, I think. He founded this, and then like-minded young men joined the organisation, and they were there to resist the introduction of conscription. And once they failed, unfortunately, to achieve that, once conscription was brought in, then they were a support organisation for conscientious objectors and their families, lobbying in Parliament, making sure that abuses of COs were brought to the attention of the Houses of Parliament. An extraordinary organisation, and I knew nothing about them. And one of the things that inspires me about that organisation, which only lasted 5 years. In 1919 they effectively disbanded, feeling that their task was done. One of the things that inspired me was the fact that within that broad church of opinion against war, you know, that broad church of opinion of conscientious objection, there were all these differences as to how far people should take their stance, but the organisation never cracked under the strain. It was able to encompass all those different opinions and still maintain a united front, which I thought was a tremendous achievement, really, considering the strains and stresses of war.